Hi, and welcome back to Focal Point AFR Talk. Brian Fisher is my name. Number to call if you want to join the conversation, 888-589-8840. And, you know, you heard the spot from Twyla Braze, who is our kind of go-to guru on all things Obamacare. And I've got a piece here. Well, one of the things, before I get to that, Valerie Jarrett, you know where she is? She is the president's chief advisor. She's in Hollywood right now, and she is desperately hacking and flacking with producers and directors and actors to try to get Obamacare wedged into Hollywood scripts. I kid you not. A top advisor to President Barack Obama, this is the Weekly Standard, is in Los Angeles to try to get Obamacare written into scripts of TV shows and movies. Can you imagine anything more boring? I can't imagine anything more preposterously boring than trying to work Obamacare into a TV or a movie script. But she's out there trying to get it done. Now, a couple of things. Here is a piece in American Thinker, and this is what Twyla Braze was referring to. And this writer is a doctor. It's written by Dr. Brian C. Jundelf. He's a Denver-based physician, and he's writing about what he calls an October surprise that could cripple the practice of medicine. Number, by the way, is 888-589-8840, 888-589-8840. And he says this: you won't read about the International Classification of Disease, that's the ICD, International Classification of Disease, on TMZ or hear it discussed on The View, but it has the potential to be an unpleasant October surprise in the healthcare world. It is a list of codes that physicians and hospitals use when billing insurance companies. 6 months from now, on October 1st, the latest version, the ICD-10, will be implemented in the U.S. The current version, the ICD-9, uses a 4 or 5-digit number to code for a particular disease. So if you got appendicitis, the code for that is 540.9. 540.9, that's appendicitis. The ICD-10 will have up to 7 alphanumeric characters to specify a condition, such as S52.521A for, quote, torus fracture of lower end of right radius, initial encounter for closed fracture, which I've got no idea what any of that means. But there's 7 digits you got to plug into a computer if somebody comes into your office with a torus fracture of lower right end of radius, initial counter for closed fracture, assuming you have some idea what that means. There are now over 5 times as many codes for doctors and hospitals to choose from. In an effort to push specificity to the limit, some ICD-10 codes have gotten silly. Now remember, this is serious. This is going to be the law. They're going to have to do it. They're not going to have a choice. If they want to get paid, they got to comply with this absolute nonsense. Codes exist, listen to this, for being hurt at the opera. I ARF you not. That would be a Y92253. If you walk into a lamppost, there's a separate code for that. That's Y92253. If you walk into a second lamppost, you got to file that under a 2202XD. Listen to this. If you get sucked into a jet engine, you got to enter that. I kid you not. That's in the list. Sucked into a jet engine. You got to file that under a V97.33XD. How in the world would you even be alive to enter the code if you got sucked into a jet engine? Being burned due to water skis on fire. So you're out water skiing and your water skis, you're in the middle of the lake and your water skis catch on fire. They got a code for that. That's a V91.07XD. So there's a total of 68,000 codes, and medical practices and doctors are going to have these readily available starting on October 1 to add to the medical record in order to bill correctly and hope to be paid. So it's just one more thing for doctors and their nurses and their assistants to have to do. So they're going to wind up paying more attention to their computer screen or to their tablet than to you. Is that good for patients? Absolutely not. That's why we don't let people text and drive. That's why it's illegal. Second, electronic medical records must be able to incorporate these codes into the exam or procedure report. So it's not just the doctor entering it. Are the electronic medical records vendors, EMR, are they up to speed on these codes? Will their systems upgrades work as advertised? Or will they work as well as the healthcare.gov website? And if the codes don't work, physicians and their practices don't get paid. And then you got the question, will the insurance companies recognize each of these new 68,000 codes, correctly match them to build procedures, and promptly pay providers? And he says, look, if I treat a patient with macular degeneration with a monthly dose of a $2,000 drug, I now bill a single code, which ensures that I will be paid. So the electronic medical records provider processes that. The insurance company gets it. They recognize it. One code, one bill, and he gets paid his $2,000 or whatever. Under the ICD-10, there will be 20 codes specifying which eyes and how severe the case is that allow payment. Will every insurance company have each of these codes in its computers? And the American Medical Association is out there this week saying that, look, implementation of this thing is going to be 3 times as expensive as we thought. So you wonder why people aren't running on Obamacare. Let's grab clip number 9. This is Connecticut Governor Daniel Malloy. He's running for re-election as a governor now, but they've got a very aggressive health care plan and exchange in Connecticut. And so he's being asked about his campaign website and why people ought to re-elect him. And what is he putting on his website to convince people to vote for him again? And what is he leaving off and why? Here's how the exchange went.
You listed all the reasons you should be reelected to Chris. Absent from the list is Obamacare, and your state's been a leading example of enrolling the uninsured. Why did you not put that on your list? And a second related question, have you talked to any other governors about how to improve their own systems, considering how well you've done with yours?
Yes, we've actually been contacted by a number of states about using our technology and how we did it. So there are a number of states that are now looking at Connecticut. The failure rate, as you know, is pretty high. We, on the other hand, have done extremely well. We're about 185,000 people covered. Our goal was to get to 100,000. We did that by February. We think that we have a lot more people to sign up in the coming days. The phone lines are working. We've got the system up and running on the computer program. It just all came together for us because we put a lot of work into it. From the day I got elected, I embraced this issue and I ran to it.
Why isn't it a tenet of your re-election campaign? Why didn't you list that among the issues that you think you could run on?
It's a little early, and I haven't had enough coffee, so I apologize.
If this thing is the greatest thing since mayonnaise, how come it's not up on your campaign re-election website? And he said, well, that's a good question, and I have no idea how to answer that question because I haven't had my morning coffee. This thing is an absolute disaster. The Democrats know it. All right, let's go to Catherine, Wallace, North Carolina. Catherine, welcome. Catherine, Wallace, North Carolina, welcome. What's on your mind?
Hey, Ryan. Well, hey. Just referring to what you just said, the international codes for medicine. So that sounds like one world medicine. Not only will we have one world medicine, we'll have one world religion and one world everything. But I called to give you a Bible verse concerning the Southern Baptist leader. Was his name Moore?
Yeah, Russell Moore. He's their spokesman on public policy issues.
Right. He said we should be satisfied with a politician that's just not against us. But Jesus said in Matthew 12:30, he that is not with me is right now against me. So you can't just not be against him. You have to be with him.
Well, and I think, Catherine, that's an outstanding verse. That's a great verse, and it's particularly appropriate in the battle over special rights for homosexual behavior, which is nothing more than special rights for sexual deviancy. I mean, you were either against that or you're going to wind up being for it.
And can I ask you something?
Yes, ma'am.
If the mainline churches have gone apostate, and the Southern Baptists are running down that road. Where else is there? The full gospel, where do they stand on that?
Well, I don't know the answer to that question. I know the mainline denominations are pretty much gone. The Southern Baptist has been a denomination we've always been able to count on. And, we had a caller in the last hour, Catherine, not happy with the direction that this Public Policy Commission is going, and he's withholding the part of his tithe that normally is siphoned off and directed to this Ethics and Religious Liberty Commission. So this is something that the Southern Baptists can take care of. They can deal with this. If they're going to get a different spokesman, then they can do it. It's up to them. If enough people in the Southern Baptist Convention will kind of, bang on their pots and pans, I think they can bring about a change, because ultimately, the people that form this commission, they're going to have to listen to the people that pay their salaries. I mean, that's just the way things work. So, I'm not giving up on the Southern Baptists, Catherine. I'm hoping that the pastors and the people in the pews are going to wind up getting some people's minds right on this. All right. Thank you, Catherine. Great verse. Let's go to Johnny, West Memphis, Arkansas. Johnny, welcome. What's on your mind?
Well, I've got two things I'd like to just kind of voice my quick opinion on.
Yes, sir.
One of them was that council person from, I think you said it was in Maine or Maryland?
It was Maryland, Carroll County in Maryland. Uh-huh.
Yes. Thank God for people like her. May God bless her. And please, God, send us more people in power that have a mindset that she's got. We need to get God back into this country, because the direction we are going right now, it's just unthinkable. So I just my opinion, thank God we've got people like her. We need more like her.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, she's like I say, she is a heroine of mine. Want to mention her name again, Robin Bartlett Frazier. She's Joan of Arc of our time, because she just defied a federal judge. A federal judge issued an injunction, you cannot pray in Jesus' name. And she said, I'm going to go right ahead and do it. Your ruling is wrong. It's unconstitutional. It violates everything that America's about. America's about religious liberty. I'm going to go right ahead and pray in Jesus' name. In fact, I'm not even going to use my own prayer to show you how out of touch you are, Judge, with American history. I'm going to pray a prayer that George Washington wrote. And you remember, if you heard her pray that prayer, the number of times that Jesus Christ is referred to explicitly in that prayer of George Washington. So I totally agree with you, Johnny. She is a heroine of mine. I think we need more like her. You're exactly right. And Idaho, the governor of Idaho this week signed a nullification bill on the Second Amendment, saying there are no federal law. We're not going to allow any law enforcement in Idaho to enforce a federal law that infringes on the Second Amendment. That's how you do it.